If you're preparing for your thesis or dissertation defense and feeling anxious about it, this course is for you. So let's get started. If you're anxious about your thesis or dissertation defense, I need you to know two things right away. First, you're not alone. The majority of the people out there feel the same way that you do. And second, you're not broken. This isn't some sort of character flaw or a sign that you're not cut out for this. I've talked to brilliant students, people who can explain their research in their sleep, who still lie awake at night worrying about their defense. Students who know their methodology backwards and forwards but can't shake the fear that something will go wrong when their committee starts questioning them, that they won't know an answer, that they'll look unprepared after all these years of work. If that's you, there's a reason this is happening, and it has nothing to do with how prepared you actually are. I have a master's degree, and when I was in graduate school, I had a choice to make. I remember the moment clearly. I was sitting in my advisor's office, and she asked me, did I want to do a traditional defense or would I rather complete a capstone project? The second she said the word defense, my heart started racing. Just hearing it triggered this immediate physical response. Tight chest, racing thoughts, that feeling of dread in the pit of my stomach. So I chose the capstone. Not because I didn't know my research, I knew it cold. I could have talked about my work for hours with anyone who wanted to listen. But the thought of standing in front of a committee, 5 people firing unpredictable questions at me, challenging my methods, asking me to defend the choices I'd made 2 years earlier, it terrified me in a way I couldn't fully explain at the time. And here's the thing, that wasn't like me. I don't normally back down from challenges, but something about this particular challenge made me choose the easier path. For a long time afterwards, it felt like a missed opportunity, like I'd taken the easy way out when I should have risen to the occasion. That feeling, that sense of having avoided something important, it stuck with me, and it sent me down a research path of my own. I wanted to understand what had actually happened in my body in that moment. Why did just thinking about defending my research trigger such an intense fear response? And the bigger question, why do brilliant students, people who genuinely know their material inside and out, still feel this level of anxiety about their defense? What creates that fear of not knowing an answer, of looking unprepared, of falling apart after years of work? The answer, it turns out, is in brain science. There are specific biological mechanisms at play, things happening in your nervous system that have nothing to do with your intelligence or your level of preparation. Once I understood what was actually happening in my body during those moments of anxiety, everything made sense. The fear wasn't random. It wasn't a sign I wasn't ready. It was my brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. So that's why this course exists. I want you to understand what's happening in your brain when you think about your defense. Not in some abstract academic way, but in a practical, oh, that's why my heart races when my advisor mentions scheduling kind of way. And more importantly, I want you to understand how to prepare properly for what you're about to face. Because here's the thing, you already know your research. You've spent years on this. You can explain your methodology, your findings, your contribution to the field. The content preparation, you've got that part covered. What I'm talking about is preparing your brain to handle the pressure of being questioned, training your body to stay calm and articulate when 5 people are staring at you, waiting for your answer to a question you weren't expecting. That's what I wish I had known back then. That's what this course is going to teach you. Here's what we're going to cover over the next 60 plus minutes. In Module 1, we'll talk about why your brain treats your defense like a survival threat. And I mean that literally. There are ancient survival mechanisms in your brain that get activated when you think about being publicly questioned. We'll break down exactly what's happening and why this response is completely normal, even predictable, given how human brains are wired. Module 2 is about why you can't train with your advisor or friends. And this might surprise you because a lot of students do practice runs with people they know. But there's something critically missing from those rehearsals, something that makes them fundamentally different from the real defense. We'll talk about what that gap is and why it matters. In Module 3, we'll explore this principle. You fall to the level of your training, not your knowledge. This is a concept from high-pressure performance in other fields, and it explains why knowing your research cold doesn't automatically mean you'll perform well when the pressure hits. We'll break down what actually determines how you'll do in that room. Module 4 gives you specific practical techniques for when you don't know the answer to a question, because that's going to happen. Your committee will ask something you're not prepared for, and what you do in that moment, how your brain responds under pressure, that's what we'll train. And finally, Module 5 is about how to actually train your brain for the real thing. Not just intellectually prepare, but condition your nervous system so you can walk into that room confident instead of terrified. You've spent years on your research, years of late nights, revisions, dead ends, and breakthroughs. Let's make sure you can defend it with the confidence it deserves. So let's get started.